Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you how to replace this upper and rotational engine mount on a 2010 Nissan Altima. This is the 2.5 liter i4 engine. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first you're going to need to remove these three pieces here just for this plastic cover to come off, and it's a 3/16 Allen wrench. Next, we're going to need to take a jack, and I'll show you in just a sec. We're going to support the engine as we remove these mounts. So we'll go ahead and do that next. Alright, so to jack up the engine here, really just to support it, we're not really moving it up much. You're going to want to take a wood block on a jack. It's a pretty tight fit depending upon the height of your jack, and really just place it over or under the engine or the oil pan there that you can see. You really don't want your jack directly on it. You want to disperse that weight because you don't want to punch through your oil pan. So you'll do that. Depending upon your height, you'll jack it up until you see the engine move up, maybe half an inch or something. That tells you that you're jacking your engine up properly and holding it up so that when you remove this engine mount, you won't drop your engine. So up here I've already done a couple of things. You're going to need to move this out of the way. It's real easy. You just take a flathead, pop it up here, and then this moves up so you can get to this back bolt here on your engine mount. I used a 3/4. I think an 11/16 if you got the right size might work. And it's the same for this here. You could see how bad that is. Obviously this needs to be replaced. So in order to get the rest of this mount off, you either need to take this entire bracket off. I was seeing, and I think I'm going to attempt it, I'm going to take these two bolts off. I'll tell you the size in just a sec. And then I'm going to pop this up just a little bit because you do not have room to get that bolt out. So I'm going to pry it up just a little bit in order to get it off, or you can take the entire piece off. Alright, so this is two 13mm bolts here that you'll remove, and basically just barely pry it up just enough to wiggle that back bolt off. You can see with that off it comes out pretty easily, and obviously it needs to be replaced. You know how bad that is. So next I'm going to replace this engine mount here on the passenger side, because you can kind of see down here a little bit of this piece of rubber here has obviously been moving, so it's pretty loose. So in order to replace this one, you have to remove this kind of rotational one here. So we're going to go ahead and take this off next. Alright, so next, this is an 18mm bolt right here that comes off, so I did that. And then this is kind of the pattern. You have two giant bolts and two little ones. So the two giant ones are right here, and then two little ones right here. So obviously as I started cranking it off, the engine started dropping some, so I just jacked it up a little more to kind of put it back into place so it's not dropping so much as I was loosening these. So next we're going to need to undo bolt down here, down there, and over here next. I should mention this center bolt was an 18, these four were 16, and then the three, this bottom piece, are also 16mm. So go ahead and remove those three bolts next. So now we've got to finagle this piece out here. I just don't see a way of it coming out without removing your overflow tank. So there's a little 10mm bolt here, and it feels like there's a plastic clip at the bottom that it'll pop out of. And then you'll need to remove your hose here to your radiator. Obviously I have these little clamps here that you just squeeze them and move it over, and then sometimes this piece here will kind of be stuck on the plastic. If you just grab it and grip it and kind of break that seal, then you should be able to pull it off, and then you'll be able to pull this out. Just be careful, obviously this is kind of for the overflow there if it gets too hot. So just be careful you don't spill it. You don't really want to have to clean this stuff up if you don't have to. So I'm not 100% sure that I had to replace this. You can see a pretty good crack there. on both sides. But just with that other mount being so close, it's not that much more work to replace this, and the cost isn't much more, which, by the way, I'll include a link on the replacement parts that I used. So let's go ahead and put the new one in and see how it does. So I'll get you torque specs in just a minute. So my new part here came with this stud, and basically you just screw it in into this piece here, and then your bolt is going to bolt back on there. So you could kind of see, comparing them, see how much flatter this old one is, how much height it's lost in comparison to this one. So it's probably a good thing to replace this. So let's go ahead and finagle this new one in so that we can get it all cranked down and get back on the road. So it's easiest if you have someone kind of pulling on this. Just be real careful as you do that. Also, it was easier to put the stud in after instead of putting it on before you put everything back in. So we're going to go ahead and torque each of these 16mm bolts, all three, down to 30 foot-pounds. So I just had those bolts basically at the top of that. Really, you're probably going to have to jack it up, especially because, like I was showing you, my engine mount had dropped probably ½ an inch to an inch. So you just carefully and slowly jack it up, and you'll see it slowly getting closer to being in the right spot. So do that, and then you'll crank these down. So these 4 bolts here are all 37 foot-pounds that you're going to torque it to. I'm going to torque those down, and then this one I'm going to lower my jack just a little bit so that I know I'm not trying to pull my engine down to this bracket here, since I already have those torqued down. And this single center bolt is going to torque to 76 foot-pounds. So go ahead and do all that next. So when putting your coolant overflow tank back on, I don't know if you could see, there's a little metal bracket down there. Don't forget to click that on. I did until after I'd already put it all back. So make sure you do that. Then for these 2 bolts, we're going to do 63 foot-pounds. They're 18mm, so go ahead and crank those down. And really from here, it's just the last couple of things. Make sure you put these 2 bolts back on after you've cranked these 2 down. And then just go ahead and test it. Make sure that it doesn't rotate like it was before. If yours was cracked all the way through, then it should be a much smoother ride like I'm expecting. So anyways, that is how you replace the 2 front, or the 2 passenger side engine mounts on a 2010 Nissan Altima. Again, this is the i4 2.5 liter engine. So hopefully this was helpful, and thanks for watching.